Hi, this is Tim Sanders, founder of the Omnia Radiation Balancer. Pretty soon there will be 5G masks going up all around us, and we want to make sure that you're giving yourself the best protection on the market. Our solution is unique. We use a new source of energy from the fifth dimension to balance radiation fields on any device, making it safe to use. Our results show that this structures water, it balances the blood, and it keeps your body super strong. And yes, it works on 5G. The energy in the patch never runs out, so count up all the radiating devices in your life, stick one on each, and you're done. Click on the link below and you'll soon be bringing balance and strength back to your body. Thank you.
How's the light? Is it super like?
I mean, is it super what? You didn't give us an option.
I don't know. Like, is it
All
okay?
right, we started. Hey guys, you're listening to Journey. Oh, okay. Hey guys, you're listening to Journey to Truth podcast. Tonight we are joined by Jenny Constantine. We had Jenny on an earlier episode. I don't remember which episode.
It was like a year ago.
Yeah.
About.
So much has happened since then, and Jenny has just been on fire on social media, taking down the deep state. She speaks her mind, and I love it. So I was like, we got to have her back on. We need to talk about this shit, get to the bottom of it, expose these people, and bring attention where it needs to be brought, because so many people are distracted, understandably, right now, because that is the goal for the mainstream media, to distract us from all these crimes that are being exposed. And Jenny is, for those who don't know, she's a psychic intuitive. She specializes in tarot card readings. To put it simply, I'll let her explain that a little more if she wants to. But without further ado, welcome to the show, Jenny. Good to have you back.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me back. Yeah, it's been almost a whole year since, ESETI last summer. We were all hanging out, having a good time. So, and yes, it's been one hell of a year since then.
Yeah. It was actually almost exactly a year, because by this time last year, we would have been just getting back from ESETI.
Because it was after ESETI that we had, that you were on, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so.
I remember.
Sure, yeah.
That was fun.
I didn't even know who Jenny was at ESETI. And before
I did, just because you were on James' radio show before that, and that's when I first heard you. Yeah.
So tell us what the hell is going on and why everybody needs to wake up.
Tell us what the hell is going on.
And start paying attention. Especially, we can even start with the Wayfair thing if you want. And what are your thoughts on that? A lot of people are trying to debunk it. Obviously, Snopes said it's false, so there's that.
Oh yeah. So Snopes is on it, so you guys know that
it's false. The authority has spoken.
Yeah.
Snopes.
Right.
Yeah.
The just amazing resources of the folks over at Snopes, and just like world-class journalism.
Yeah.
So the Wayfair thing. So this is intense, because what this essentially reveals to the public is that these otherwise very reputable mainstream commercial websites and companies. I mean, everybody knows Wayfair. Wayfair.com. I mean, it's like Walmart. It's so household. And essentially, what I believe is being implicated here, that these portals are being used as fronts to funnel money. So I don't know at this point if it's as simple as going to the website, to the catalog, and ordering one of these upwards of $10,000 industrial cabinets, and then you're going to get a child. I think that these are more like payment portals. Okay. Yeah. So a lot of details on this remain to be seen. But clearly this is a direct result of the testimony of Ghislaine Maxwell. I mean, maybe that isn't super obvious to a bunch of people, and I want to be clear, I don't have proof that this is a result of her testimony. But I do feel that these two things are incredibly connected.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I mean, talk about a big fish. Talk about, a big fish. So this is really exciting. It's very shocking to people. People are having a hard time with this. But, you know, I mean, it has to come out.
I'm seeing people in denial as far as like, there's no way it would be that in your face if it was happening. But that's how they operate. Have we not learned anything? Like all this time looking in this, that's how they operate, hidden in plain sight. Yeah. That's their whole game.
That's absolutely how they operate.
That's their game.
Yeah.
It's interesting, Ghislaine Maxwell's trial got pushed off a year. Did you see that? Until July 12th of next year, 2020, but on no bail. So
right. Well, right.
It's still, everybody was like wanting,
she commits suicide before then.
I think it's going to be different. I think
I don't think it.
I think she's protected. Like we should be rooting for her to stay alive, even though she was involved in some of the most horrific crimes.
Sure, no, she's an evil subhuman scumbag, but her life and her testimony it's living evidence, and we need her. And I feel really, really bad about this because last week I pulled a spread. It was 6 cards, and there were 3 different questions, 2 cards for each, and I never posted it. I typed it up, and I half typed it up. But I just I never pulled the trigger with it. And I just felt like, so all week I'm like, God, like I can't even chime in on this because I had a prediction for it and I didn't put it out. So I feel stupid about it now. So I might but I will tell you, I remember what was it that, was she going to sing? That was question number 2. Was she going to sing? And it was the 6 of Cups and the Tower. So the 6 of Cups is children, and it's the pact, the agreement, the group, the cluster, the gang, the cult, their club. And the Tower, anybody who knows anything about tarot and divination, the Tower is the complete crumbling of the agenda. It's a complete it's Armageddon, it's the apocalypse. So I really do think that this is what we can expect. And at this point, moving forward, I don't think that anything that is released to the public is accidental. I firmly believe that patriots, the white hat operatives, and the benevolent factions of the military and the government, I do believe that we are officially in control. I do. I think we're dealing with pockets of nasty resistances here and there. But for the most part, they continue to be identifying themselves on a regular basis. And they're essentially just making it very easy for those of us to recognize them a mile away. So this is beneficial all the way around for us. I understand that people are dealing with a lot of anxiety about the changes. They feel impatient. They want to see arrests of names that they recognize, and they don't understand why this is taking so long. And I try to urge people to understand the fact that we really are contending with an ancient death cult that has been embedded in society. And not only are we dealing with these key figures that need to be, taken in, questioned, and dealt with, we are dealing with a society that has been slowly and meticulously eroded for many, many, many years. So we're not just contending with the death cult. We are contending with a society that the death cult has been directly and purposely manipulating to suppress any spirit of rebellion within the collective. So they're like, no, this is where we're dealing with, the line between people that wear masks and militantly defend the mask mandates, and then you have everybody else who's normal. And it's like, fuck you. Mask. Sorry about the language, but yeah.
No, part of the whole goal of having you on was to get you triggered so you go on a rant.
Yeah. Please do.
I knew it.
No, but you're right. It's but the problem is that a lot of people don't seem to care about what's going on. Even if you show them the stuff, they don't care. But it's not their fault. It's not that they don't care, but it's that they've been programmed to worry about other stuff, to not care. I don't know how else to put it. They've been programmed to not care. Whenever you see evidence, you're just, okay, how does that affect me? No one ever connects the dots. Yeah. And then you go drive your fancy car and do what you want to do.
What I've learned over the last 8 years since my awakening, the biggest thing that if you don't understand that they exist, that they run everything, that they're embedded in every aspect of society, that they've been around for so long, and the agendas that they have. If you don't understand what's really going on basically on the planet, you're never going to understand anything like this that happens. It's just you're going to just buy the surface explanation and narrative, which is what so many people do. And then also the programming that they put out of, oh, you're crazy if you believe this is a conspiracy. You're a weirdo. You're right-wing extremist or whatever, all the bullshit. It's like, no, we've just investigated the truth and we know what's really going on. We're trying to tell everyone, but people are so resistant. So many people are still so resistant to anything outside of the mainstream narrative.
Yeah.
And luckily you do have people that aren't, are still not into conspiracy or, the deeper truths, but still see the insanity of what's going on and are like, no, this is not okay. Why are we thinking this is okay?
Well,
and
the whole
calling it out.
The whole thing right now, which you'll agree with, is that this is everyone's gonna be watching this whole sex trafficking thing. This Ghislaine Maxwell, the Epstein, the pedophile island, all this stuff, because celebrity names are going to be entangled in this, and everybody wants to know about celebrity gossip. So it's going to force people. People are going to be tuning in also because they think Trump is involved, and they're going to be tuning in to see Trump go down. But really, it's going to be the opposite, and they're going to actually be red pilling themselves by tuning into this. So this is way bigger than it seems.
It really comes down to people. You can't tell people the truth. They have to be shown the truth.
Yeah.
And they have to they have to come to it themselves. But the best way to do that is to just pull back the curtains and show them who these people are, what's really been going on.
Yeah.
And like you said, you can't just arrest these people without the truth first being revealed, because then it's going to look like either a coup, like Trump's doing it, or it's just it's not really gonna help. I mean, it is in a way that they're gonna be going away, but really people need to be shown what's really going on first. And also it's a process because they're so embedded and their system is so strongly, they have it, controlled completely. So they have to be dismantled in a way that is not they're not going to be able to pull a big false flag or kill a bunch of people or cause a whole bunch of chaos on the planet or whatever they're going to try to, which is what they would try to do. The coronavirus, in my opinion, is absolutely one of those things that they wanted it to be a lot worse. And luckily it was not. We can go into that. That's a whole different topic, but you can't, it's not as simple as just going in and arresting these people. No. They are being dismantled and taken out, but it's a process and they have to do it right. So rushing it is the worst thing they can possibly do.
Yeah.
So
we saw that with the Saudi prince that just came into power. He rounded up a few hundred of his political rivals in one night. I thought that was so badass. If I could rule the world, that's what I would do.
Well, don't you all?
Yeah.
It was totally surgical. It was beautiful.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on what are we expecting to see with this next election with Trump? And explain to people who might be new to all this why it's so crucial that this mail-in voting doesn't happen and why we need Trump to get reelected. And I also want to kind of tie this in the queue also.
Well, of course. Well, just so everybody knows, from my personal lens, from my personal worldview, my scope through which I'm viewing all of this, it is a Q lens. Q is, to me, it's everything right now. It's truly the plan, I think that it has brought, it's just as spiritual as metaphysical as it is like boots on the ground, regular flesh and blood human players like you and me and General Flynn and many generals and many agents, you know, embedded in all levels of government and military, good people, good regular people, patriots. This is just as much a fight of flesh and blood as it is good and evil, dark and light, you know, right and wrong. So when we talk about how, you know, people have this cognitive dissonance and you can show them evidence and they act like it's not possible or that it's not their problem, even making a declaration such as that and coming to that conclusion for themselves, that is a vote of their consciousness, and there will be consequences to that. There are consequences to everything. People hear the word consequences, they think that that's automatically a bad thing. There are positive consequences. There are negative consequences. A consequence is just a result of something. And so there will be personal and external ramifications to individuals and groups of people that choose to ignore this or to gloss over this. They're going to manifest or experience a very difficult time in the next few months, because what they've done is they're resisting it. And I think that one of the more difficult truths that people are going to have to come to is the fact that we're not dealing with people, just this tiny group of people, like the 8,000 people in banking, you know, and the families. That's fine. That's one thing. That's 8,000 people. We can handle that. We be many, they be few. But there are regular people like you and me that have been corrupted to the core. And what they do now is they serve as sizable flesh and blood antenna meat suits, and they lend themselves to as enemy combatants to our enemy army. So we are going to have to face millions and millions of American citizens that choose darkness. They know what it is. They know that trafficking is real. They like it. They want to rape and murder and cannibalize and torture. They're all around us. That's the secret, is that there are millions of people that look like us and they're human, but they've chosen to be less than. And so, and I talked about this earlier on my Facebook, when people are like, why is this taking so long? Why the complacency? Why are people just not out in the streets, you know, protesting this the way they're protesting Black Lives Matter and, you know, all the anti-fascism bullshit narrative? Why aren't we picketing and protesting and, you know, burning shit down for child trafficking? Because there are more people than you could possibly fucking imagine that are complicit in it. There are pedophiles everywhere. If you were to get a group of five people, you, me, and two other people, 1 out of 5 of us has been sexually molested. Every fucking buddy that you know, or in a group, like somebody in that group has been molested or sexually assaulted or something, because pedophilia is that common. We are now facing an ancient enemy that has touched every level of society. So we're not just talking about the traffickers, the kingpins, the people at the top. We are now going to have to face a shadow that has been alive and recycled and generationally reincarnated and reanimated in bloodlines in society since the beginning. We have to now face this evil together. And that is whatever it is that is alive and thrives on the suffering, the torture, and the cannibalization of innocent people.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a weird thing, but I'm telling you guys know, this isn't just about political power. This is a spiritual war.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, and I couldn't agree more. And actually, I didn't even realize this until today. I was listening to something. But so the word evil is live backwards, and then the word devil is lived backwards.
Oh,
So
Interesting.
it's like that's all it is they kind of reverse it, and they take away your ability to live. And I don't know, it's you can take that however you want, but it's just interesting. And yeah, so and the whole thing with what we're going to start seeing coming forward is the celebrities and the big names, and a lot of people are going to have a hard time really grasping. Like they won't want to believe it because this guy acts or stars in my favorite movie. There's no way that he can be a part of this, and it's going to be really hard pill for people to swallow.
We notice they're trying to normalize it now with including it in the LGBTQP. Now they're trying to they're trying to say you're a bigot and you're if you think pedophiles are wrong or something.
Yeah.
Like you're.
So we've all heard Q reference Sky Event. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. We've all heard Sky Event.
Yeah.
For a while, and here's the thing with Q, each syllable, everything is it's encoded. It's all code. It's beautiful. It's magical. It's genius. Like it's genius. We are going to be talking about this and analyzing this, like our descendants and their descendants forever. Like forever. We are living through history right now. Yep. Like it's so beautiful. I love it. I get so excited. So Sky Event has more than one meaning. For a while, for a couple years now, I'm thinking that this is all about essentially this kind of this event where everybody is kind of, tuned into the sky, something's going on, whatever. Now I'm starting to think the stars are falling. Think mirror. They have constructed, the cabal, the elite. What Hollywood is essentially a micro of the macro. What high ritual is, all high ritual is a drawing down of the powers of the stars and making them work for you. So depending on whether you're a good person or a bad person, that's what makes your magic black or white or good or bad or whatever. Mm-hmm. So what they've done in Hollywood is they have created a map of their stars, their icons, all of which are bought and paid for, all of which have certain resonances to certain archetypes. And that's why it's a deep whole thing. It's very culty. It's very, esoteric. But now the stars are falling. Okay. All of their icons are falling from their ceiling. This is the Sky Event. And so, I'm kind of like not the person that people are going to go to like hold their fucking hands. Like I have no sympathy. Like I have no time. I have no room in my icy cold black heart for any bullshit. Because I've been so nice and I've tried so hard for years, jumping up and down, trying to tell people what they're doing to the kids. And I was told I was crazy. I was told worry about something else, So I don't have any room in my heart for people that need their hands held at this time, because there's no excuse. We're all adults. You know what I mean? Like we're all adults here. So we need to take personal responsibility for this shit show that we're in the middle of, and stop thinking that the next person is going to do it, because that's not always the case. That's how we got into this mess. Somebody else will do something about it.
Yeah.
Well, and the reason things are going to start to get so bad right now with this second wave coming, all the mandatory stay-at-home orders, mandatory masks, the reason it's going to start getting worse is because they are falling even harder right now. So this is like
all they have left.
This is all they have left. They are frantically trying to come up with anything they can to catch the alliance off guard, catch the public off guard, confuse people, bring back the bubonic plague. I mean, they're pulling shit out of storybooks, And
as long as they have access to manipulate the public's mindset, which is they still do, unfortunately, they're going to keep pumping out narratives of fear
until they fall
and fear, and then be afraid of the coronavirus. So, and now we have an excuse to lock everything down and to do all this shit that tries to further their agenda until they finally are taken out completely. Yeah. And they're still mind controlling until the mainstream media is gone or changed completely, until these corrupt governors and politicians are gone. They're going to keep towing the line and spewing their narrative and trying to use their mind control and lying and doing whatever they can.
Yep.
But it's coming. I mean, it's coming. There's no doubt. Like, nothing can stop what's coming, right?
Absolutely.
Q keeps saying, I absolutely believe that.
Yeah.
I think within the next 4 years, like basically Trump's second term, which is going to happen, by the way. I do not believe for a second.
It's so funny. I have pretty much been living for the debates. Like, you know, I had like it all planned out. I was like, I'm gonna have all these people over. It's gonna be live. I'm like down to like the Jello shot and the cocktail that I was gonna serve. I was like, it's gonna be so much fun. No, like really, because there's nothing more heartwarming than watching my president just absolutely decimate the opposition. And it really is such a grand time to be alive. And I'm just so in awe of what President Trump has been able to do. I mean, talk about 5D chess. Truly, that is what we're looking at here. Trump does not act alone. He has the finest top brass maybe that the world has ever seen. Some of these people are probably Atlantean incarnates that were embedded within their ranks to be able to facilitate this massive taking back of power, old guard to new guard. This is incredibly significant. The mail-in voting. So for anybody that doesn't know why this is such a huge problem, all we really have to do is look at the DNC's track record. They have literally been caught red-handed rigging votes, tampering with the ballots. Like, this is their MO. This is in their game book. This is nothing new. We are the news now. You are the news now. We don't acknowledge Mockingbird other than to make fun of them, to troll them. Memes at the ready. This is, the digital world, it is the front line. It is the battlefield. People need to adopt a real sense of personal responsibility and accountability in this fight. And they need to educate themselves. They need to start sharing this information to counter the narrative, because that's a huge fulcrum point, is when as soon as people accept the fact that this includes all of us. The Great Awakening it's cellular. This isn't just about the media or big pharma or GMOs. This is cellular, and that's why personal choice is so, so important. Mail-in voting. Sorry, I keep getting. Basically, they want to try to ensure that Joe Biden or whoever they're going to switch him out with at the last second. Probably Michael. And they will pull something that bold and grandeur because they truly never thought she would lose. I believe that.
They didn't.
By the time he had won the election, the cabal didn't even realize that the NSA was no longer in their pocket. They didn't realize that the NSA had already been switched. Mm-hmm. So they really had no idea. Because they did rig it. We unrigged it, and then he won by legitimate election.
They were dumbfounded. You could tell.
See it coming. Yeah. They didn't see it coming.
They were like so shocked when that happened.
We can't blame them for wanting to stick to their plan. So we could have predicted they were going to, they said it themselves. Fauci was on camera saying, we're going to face a pandemic. Obama said we're going to face it. They planned it, okay? They carried it out. And what happened was, because Trump won the election legitimately, as a result of the white hat operatives and their plan to save the world, what happened was we were afforded time, cover, and essentially this period to join together and do this for ourselves. So this is a gift. I don't have time for people that don't support President Trump. I don't.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't have time. I'm sorry.
it's another interesting thing I just saw today. $1.4 billion were paid in stimulus money to dead people. Okay. This means these people are also still registered to vote, right?
Right.
If anybody has ever seen the movie with Chris Farley, Black Sheep, that movie was
disclosure.
That's disclosure.
Exactly.
It literally, the woman in there portrays Hillary Clinton, and she gets busted. She gets busted for registering dead people in all these counties as voters, and she gets busted. But this is exactly what we're seeing, and I think that this whole stimulus thing, that was kind of on purpose to pay all these dead people on purpose. So now the mainstream media is reporting on this, but now people have to connect the dots. Well, if they're getting paid, they're also going to be registered to vote, and they're going to start to see why this can't be anymore.
Well, right. And so what's so interesting about this is because, and I don't know if you guys one of these days will get into Project Looking Glass and that kind of technology and how
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's delicious stuff, guys. It's good stuff.
We can talk about that. We've brought it up.
We talked about that many times.
Yeah. So, you guys are comfortable with that. But, they continued with their plan, business as usual, because when it's like the show must go on-esque kind of thing. So Trump and his team, what they're able to do, they know what they're going to do. And so he has so beautifully provided the rope for these people to hang themselves with. Because he knows what they're going to do. They knew that they were going to send all this money to dead people. They knew that what Fauci was going to do with the pandemic. He put all of these people at the forefront of the world's, consciousness, so that, anons and people like you and me are like all over it. And we're just like, who are these people? What, the money trail, that whole thing. So I really feel like we're going to be okay. That's not just me, trying to spread hope and all that stuff. What a terrible thing to do, right? But I just feel as if we have already evaded a far more cataclysmic timeline, and that we're now essentially narrowing down all of these other possibilities, and we are going straight forward into the eye of the needle. And the reason why it's so hard right now for people, just people like us even, is that we are essentially trying to tow the collective weight of millions of human beings that are actively, energetically resisting going through this timeline. But consensus is what determines the reality. And that's why fiat currency works for so long, because people fucking believe that it does.
Yeah.
So whatever everybody believes, that is what reality is. So we all see what's happening, but we are having to tow the weight, and it's like this push and pull. Who's heavier? Who has more weight behind them? And we're essentially competing. So we're competing with bad people, good people competing with bad people for one timeline. Only one is going to fucking make it. And I promise it's going to be us. Sure. And I promise you, QAnon is at least 200 million strong worldwide and growing every single day. Yep. This has never happened before. The cabal has never had to contend with an army like this. This is our last shot. This is our last chance. I believe that.
But somehow they can't expose who Q actually is if it's just some random dude in his basement.
No.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's like, they would have exposed. He would have been exposed a long time ago if that's really what Q was.
Well, that's why
it's not Austin Stein.
What are your thoughts on?
What
are your thoughts on?
It's not Austin Steinbart.
There's a lot of people, credible people, who are buying into Austin Steinbart's narrative, and it's concerning. And it
shocked me how many people.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that, just for the listeners?
Here's the thing. Austin Steinbart has such a psychotic energy about him.
Yes.
I read people. That's what I do.
Mhm.
And I had to see for myself what this was about. And interestingly enough, like his presentation and his eloquence and his, just his ability to articulate and convey an idea, it's so Boy Scout. It screams spook to me.
Yes.
Like spook. I'm like, oh my God, this guy.
First thing I thought of.
This
guy's an actor.
Yeah. He reeks of bad actor. He
Bad
reeks
actor.
of spook, State Department Boy Scout, straight up, like whatever. So personally, I don't like the guy. His information, I can see how it's packaged and how concise it is. I can see how this is being sold to people. And so, I mean, all we have, what I think it serves us to understand in this particular situation with Austin is that this was to be expected. It's silly to think that we wouldn't have to deal with something like this, that somebody would come out, proclaim themselves to be this person and then provide all of this information and really try to narrow things down and package them quite nicely. I think everybody has to understand that they have a choice. They can choose to, go into that and ride that wave. They could choose not to. They could choose to be on the fence. I don't know. I don't know how big of a threat he is right now.
The reason I think he's a threat, so allegedly there's a documentary being made, and with Austin Steinbart's story pushing a partial disclosure narrative. Don't know really what's all going to be packaged into that. And from what I'm hearing, this could be totally just a rumor, but it's a Netflix deal. So
yeah.
So now if this goes on Netflix, now you have this false idea of Q and this false idea of extraterrestrials being pushed, and that's going to go fast if it hits Netflix. And now you're going to cause even more confusion. So to me, it's really dangerous.
And getting everybody just fighting about whether Austin's legit or not, rather than focusing on ourselves and on what really matters. People are now fighting about Austin Steinbart, which to me is just baffling that there's even enough people to take this guy seriously that it's even an issue. I couldn't believe it when I saw that. I'm like, how are so many people even taking this guy seriously?
Well, I didn't want to give it any energy until I saw what was happening. I'm like, okay, we need to at least say something so people at least have an opposing viewpoint from his. So we don't have to spend that much time on it. Going back to, you said something about the NSA and the voting and everything. I was just looking into something. I was reading something that said the whole Epstein Island thing was a deep state blackmail operation. Sure. And there were cameras everywhere. And allegedly the NSA has it all now. Yes. So it's not even so much that we need somebody like Ghislaine Maxwell to sing like a songbird, because
we already have
everything. They have everything.
Right.
It will help. It'll help the credibility of this stuff as it reaches the public.
Yeah.
Optics. It's all about optics. Everything has been strategically spoon-fed to the public through certain platforms. This is why here's the last thing I want to say about Austin. It's okay. It's okay. He can do whatever he wants to do. It's almost appropriate because, of course, Netflix.
Yeah.
Of course they would. No true Q, nobody that was truly inspired by Q will follow anybody, because Q's whole thing is think for yourself.
Exactly.
So if you are truly the spirit of Q, the spirit of the plan is to be, obviously, to work as a team where we go one, we go all. But this is so much about maintaining a personal sense of responsibility. And so when somebody sits there, somebody who's open-minded and genuinely wants to learn about Q is going to sit down and watch a Netflix documentary. They don't know what Q actually is then.
Yeah,
they don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And they may or may not come to that conclusion, but this is why it's important for people like you guys, people like myself in our network, our community, to just make this, incorporate this into our missions. And just, we have to have faith that this is all part of the plan. I feel like I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I've been preparing for this forever.
Sure. In a way, we all have. When you think back, when you get to a point, you look back in your life all the way to childhood, you start piecing together things, and you come to the conclusion you did. You start realizing, things happen this way for a reason. I've been being prepared for this, and I was going to say something else, but what were we talking about? Oh, I was talking about the blackmail, Epstein Island being a blackmail operation. Yeah. And I don't know. Then we started talking about Austin.
Well, so basically, essentially, that's what it is. Okay. So Epstein Island is honestly just one example.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Continue.
I was going to say, so Ghislaine Maxwell apparently, so Epstein Island allegedly, it used to be a U.S. Submarine, a military submarine base.
Of course.
And Ghislaine Maxwell has her submarine license, and she owns and she is part owner, if not owner, of a submarine company located in the Virgin Islands, which is where Epstein Island is. And now I'm hearing that there's a second island, obviously, and there was apparently a $500 million communications center just built there. Wow. And it is also a submarine port. So this is just more to add to the story. And I don't know how valid any of that information is, because obviously it's really hard to prove stuff.
And why would you need to take a submarine to an island also?
So this is kind of interesting. I don't know. It's been hard for me to put it into any kind of real context, because it's such a strange space to navigate. But this is what we're looking at coming out. The further we move into this, so everybody has to understand the reason why Trump doesn't stand at the podium and tell everybody the planet has been run by a group of child molesting, child trafficking, interdimensional, malevolent hybrids, is because people would freak the fuck out. They're not ready for that.
Yeah.
But that is the reality. And eventually we are going to have to contend with that reality. So, and it's all very strange, but I looked at Epstein Island on a map, obviously, and then I looked at the topographic layout. So that's where you can see the terrain as opposed to, anything else. And I looked and I noticed that about 45 to 60 miles north on the face of that temple, there's the second deepest trench in the world, right just off the face of where his temple is. And it occurred to me, we all have heard about these deep undersea reptilian bases. Mm-hmm. And it occurred to me that this was all by design. And again, keep in mind, this is just one example of a location on the planet where they conduct these rituals. They do the trafficking, the blackmail centers, whatever. I suggest that as we move more into this and things come out, we're going to see why it's all about the bloodletting and the adrenochrome and the loosh and the fear and the panic, and why the terror? Why? Because we are dealing with entities that thrive off of that.
Yeah.
The big secret here is that we're dealing with demons. I heard demons that evokes a very biblical, Christian worldview. and it's bigger than that. It's more like they're interdimensional monstrous ETs that have taken control of of planetary operations for a long time. But I do believe that some of the stuff that they've gotten into over there, and perhaps some of the reason why they have to, create entire submarine companies and communication centers, is because a lot of their operations are subterranean is under the earth.
Yeah.
Whatever, sub-ocean beneath
it would be subterranean still because some of these bases are underneath the seabed,
Right.
underneath the seafloor.
Well,
So
apparently Epstein, what you see on Epstein Island, that is just like, that's nothing. And it's like a massive underground facility way below that goes down.
So we're feeling these people are human liaisons, or in some cases they're probably hybrids, bloodlines, nasty bloodlines.
Oh.
They're liaisons. They are working as intermediaries between a malevolent group of ETs that are contacted, and worked with through black magic. Mm-hmm. They are accessed through the ritualistic torture, abuse, cannibalization, murder of children. That's how they gain access to these entities, to this control. And it's like a looping system. And I think they're coming up out of the trenches, when they do the rituals, they call these things up out of the trenches and they work together.
I was listening to, I don't know if you know who Tony Rodriguez is. He's an SSP whistleblower as well. But before that, in his childhood here, he was a part of that child trafficking. And his testimony explains him living in a cage and being basically walked on a leash, and he explains being part of these rituals. And
he lived it.
Yeah, he lived it. This is as a child. And the reason he even got out of it is because whatever the drugs they were injecting him with, his body was rejecting, and they couldn't use him anymore because he was having an allergic reaction to the drug, so he got out of it. But he explained being in one of these rituals, and they would line the kids up all on their hands and knees in a circle and on top of these symbols on the floor, and they had to face a certain way, for whatever. And he said that they would feed them something to make them to make them hallucinate. And they would see, he said, this cloud would appear and this entity would come down. But he said one time, one of the kids he was with, for some reason, this kid started, when the entity came down, was just beaming. He said it looked like a flashlight. It was just beaming this white, source light. And this entity came down, couldn't handle the light from this kid. And the kid was like, I came back for you. And it was like the kid was there to actually break up that ritual, even though he was part of the traffic. He tells a story, and the people were so pissed because they couldn't pull off their ritual, and they have to wait so many years before they can do that exact ritual again. And it was all blown because of this one kid.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. But it's just,
oh my God.
And when you hear him tell the story, he has way more details, but he has firsthand knowledge of some of the stuff that we hear about it. But when you hear somebody who's been there and the details, it's like, fuck.
Yeah. I mean, either he's one of the greatest storytellers of all time, or he's just telling.
Why would you make that? He said the hardest thing, and he said the hardest thing is, he goes, they gave you everything you wanted. He goes, they would feed you, they would take care of you, your material needs were met, but you never had love. And he said that still is his trauma today, is he always just wanted somebody to love him. And that's still something he deals with today. He said
you're basically completely alone, and that he's like, no one loves you when you grow up in that. You don't have friends, you don't have family, you don't have anyone that is like a loving connection.
He said that's the hardest part of it.
Yeah.
So we don't have to keep dwelling on that. I just wanted to.
It gets dark.
I just wanted to provide.
And here's the thing. These are conversations that super suck. They freaking suck. It's so tragic. But they're the necessary conversations. So we can't sit here and tell everybody they're a bunch of pansies for not, for looking away. We have to sit here, and it sucks. I got triggered too because I'm thinking, oh my God, like, I'm a mother, you know what I mean? And I was raised in an intelligence family. My dad's a straight up deep state guy. So like, being on the inside of it, and, I consider myself very lucky. I consider myself very fortunate. But it's like, wow, that shit is so real. It really, really happens. And that they're survivors. They don't kill everybody. They dispose of people. They don't care what happens to you after you're not, usable anymore. A lot of kids do die, obviously, but a lot of kids get out. So their testimony is going to continue to be like super, super gold. And we have to support each other. We have to give these people platforms. We have to, navigate all of this together. But, the next step, I think, as a country together, what people can do to help is take off your fucking mask. Do that. And people think that's not related. It's all related.
Absolutely.
Okay. They snatch up the babies and they take them, they sell them into trafficking. And we're going to start getting into the fact that they do off-world interplanetary trafficking. That is very, very real.
Yeah.
So what do you think they do to the kids? They muzzle the kids, tie them up, chain them up. They're essentially trying to muzzle all of us. What, are we all going to be your slaves? You're going to traffic all of us? If they have their way, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
So my suggestion to the average person, take off your masks and exercise your free will choice while you still have some semblance of choice, because we're getting down to the wire here. If people don't speak up and make a decision on their own behalf, that decision will be made for you.
Yeah.
Their plans can only work if we consent to them, and they know that we will only consent if they can lie to us and tell us that what we're doing is for our own good or is for a good cause.
There was a Daily Mail.
It's not.
There's a Daily Mail article that says people who wear masks. Study says people who wear masks have a cognitive disability or something like that, or a lower. Yeah. How is it?
Yeah, it's always a study has been done.
A study has been. People who wear masks,
the authorities say,
have a lower cognitive ability, is what the study said. And
I saw another one that says people that refuse to wear masks are psychotics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they're pushing that too.
I see people that actually believe that, because I had a guy at work. He's like, "Where's your mask? You're not wearing a mask?" I said, "No, man, I'm not wearing it." He goes, "You're insane." And I just shook my head. I couldn't even go.
It's hard to engage people.
Yeah.
Anybody that's that bold to like call you out and be like, "Why aren't you wearing a mask?" Like, it's just, you realize you're dealing with an idiot. So you just, conserve your energy so you can be effective elsewhere, because that person is just a lost cause.
I had a guy try to tell me because I wasn't wearing a mask, it was like I was saying "fuck you" to everybody else. I was like,
yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah.
It is, Aaron. What's wrong with you?
He's like, well, yeah, you're kind of saying "fuck you" to everybody else.
Yeah.
He's like, am I though?
Am I though?
Or are you consenting to being a slave?
Right. Or are you just an idiot?
Yeah.
That's more likely.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just, but this is, we can go on all day about these masks. It's ridiculous. You saw that fire, that Navy ship that caught fire?
Yes.
I was reading an article. Actually, it was an article you shared. I read in that article. It said that the automated firefighting system on the ship just happened to be offline at the time of the fire. It was thrown right there in the middle of the whole article, which seemed pretty, normal, like a normal fire. They made it sound like, but why was their sprinkler system offline at that time? It said a significant part of their automated system was offline at the time of the fire. So I just wonder if this was some type of attack.
I'm gonna have to talk to my naval connections on that one. But interestingly enough, the Navy has been popping its head out on social media recently in reference to Tom Hanks. And so I don't know if you guys have seen that, but I'm not 100% sure. I love my Navy. I love my Army, my Coasties. Like, I love everybody. I love the whole military. I do believe that there are positive, benevolent military is in control in all branches of military. So the Navy has alluded to all this Tom Hanks stuff. People are like, does this mean he's on his way to Gitmo, or is this like solely in what's it called, in promotion of some new movie that Tom Hanks is in, and it's like a Navy movie, or it's like an ocean boat movie or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't give a shit about Tom Hanks. Like, he's disgusting pedo, but like, I don't know. Maybe the Navy thought they were getting cute and they were getting a little like, open about it, and then there was, some counter strike. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of dumb to mess with them, though.
Well, and it's interesting too. I don't know if you follow Alex Collier or not.
The name rings bells.
He says that for the first time ever, so these undersea bases we were talking about, they had been run by reptilians and off-world entities. For the first time ever, the Navy has moved in, and now we have boots on the ground undersea in places we've never had. And he said there's manned submarines down there patrolling. They've never had that before. So this is also lines up with the submarine, the whole Epstein Island thing. But he said this is why it's different this time. And all the times in the past, we have Navy personnel in these bases, and now this change is a game changer.
Which is Alliance, yeah. Like,
I want to check that out. I super want to get into that. I know you guys have seen this article. Military.com published this like maybe 2-3 years ago. That they've invested something like in some astronomical number, like 500 billion. I don't know. That's a dumb number. But just a lot of money to train an entire generation of soldiers. Like, the training's been done. It's like they're doing it now, to train soldiers to fight underground warfare.
Yeah.
They didn't specify whether that was, subterranean of metropolis areas or remote, like land, terrestrial areas. This could very well be like undersea. Why would they don't have to tell us anything. And I really think all of it is optics. Like, they're letting us know what we need to know, planting the seeds so that other people can kind of like, pick those up and move forward with them. But that is super, super interesting, because I have said repeatedly now for several years that the Space Force is something that has already been fully operational for a great many years now. And that essentially all that this is a cover for interplanetary border security. And that would very much include any subterranean bases or anything, undersea. These are what I like to call jump off points. So these are how they access and travel between, this realm, that realm, all these places where they're taking these kids, taking these people, the hybrid breeding programs. That's another thing. You know what I mean? Like, all of these women, all of these, specifically indigenous women are being, everybody's just being rounded up and like, they just disappear. Where do they go? So all of this is going to come out. And I think that the Space Force, as we move further into it, everyone's going to see how intertwined QAnon is with the Space Force, and it's all going to come out. And I'm just, as tragic and evil and disgusting as it all is, it's finally coming to an end.
Yeah.
So the time to be super devastated and sad about it, that for me, for you guys, that's over. We cried. We had our dark night of the soul where this information broke us. It weirded us out. Like, I can't speak for everybody, but for me, like, when I learned about Pizzagate, like, my sexuality shut off for like 6 to 9 months. I was like, it destroyed everything. So people are going to have to deal with where we were at a few years ago with this information. Now we're going to have to deal with a collective wave of people that come into this information and are completely lost because their paradigm is shattered and they have to deal with it. Because the reality of it is it's more than it's.
Well,
we can grasp it, but some people can't.
And think
Absolutely.
about how many years it took you since the first time you really discovered, had that aha moment and really started going down the rabbit holes. How many years did it take you to get to where you are today, to really have this deep understanding of how it all works? That takes time. It's not just going to be like one event that's going to wake everybody up all of a sudden. Man, it's going to be a long, drawn-out process of self-discovery for a lot of people.
Well, first the illusions have to be taken away, where you don't have a mainstream media lying to you 24/7 and telling you a false narrative. You don't have a government telling you a false narrative and pushing, basically enslaving populations instead of working for the people, which is what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
All that's getting cleaned up right now. So then people will actually have a chance to heal and to come to the truth from a healthy place rather than a traumatized. I mean, people are traumatized, but like people are being given a chance to slowly come to the truth and heal at the same time, I feel like. So it's not going to be this like chaotic, traumatic event because if they just revealed it all at once and dumped everything at once on everyone, can you imagine like how traumatic that would be for the planet? And like everyone,
yeah, exactly.
That's what like Corey was saying is like people aren't going to want to get out of the bed in the morning. People are going to be like, their whole illusion of what they thought reality was and everything was, it's going to be like gone, and all this horrific information is going to be.
And if you want to know who those people are, just look around and count the mass.
Yeah, but I think that's why it's not going to be dumped all at once. It's going to be a little bit, but it can't be too drawn out, or else we're just, it's like, it's not going to take 100 years.
Like, they have to be shown. People have to be shown. You can't tell anybody anything anymore. People have to live it. That's why I even think that this whole Antifa, BLM, these riots and this looting, it serves its purpose, because now people can see and experience for themselves what Joe Biden's America would be, what a socialist, community would be like. So it's like, wow.
Chaz. Yeah. They're like, hey, this is what they want to turn the whole country into. Is this something you're on board with?
It's a game, right? People think it's a game. People think we're flirting with the idea because it's progressive, it's attractive, the virtue signaling is fun. People, we accept each other more based off of virtue signaling and trends. It's like, no, this is the reality. Look outside. Yeah. Like that's the reality of socialism, of Joe Biden's America. If Joe Biden wins the election, it will be done so by corruption. It will be rigged. There will be war. Okay, so everybody better freaking hope that Joe Biden or whoever they switch him out with at the last moment doesn't get in, because in that instance, we are looking at mass casualties, mass loss of life. That will not fly.
Yeah.
If Trump wins, which he will, we're still looking at civil war. Okay, we are still looking at a kind of civil war, in the sense that everybody that is complicit and guilty of facilitating human trafficking on an international level, everybody is going to be found and dealt with. So we are now dealing, when Q says we have it all, we are not kidding. Every adult person in North America that has accessed and downloaded and been complicit in the production, distribution, or consumption of child porn is getting fucking arrested. Mm-hmm. Everybody is getting arrested. So we're going to have to deal with that as a big family, and we're going to have to talk. We're going to have family time. We're going to sit down and we're going to have to talk about the fact that our schools, our daycares, our child protective services, the medical industry, the police, all of these people that we're supposed to trust, they are all going to be found guilty of shit that nobody could have ever saw coming. So it's still going to be a painful process. This isn't going to be easy.
No.
Even if Trump wins, this is not going to be easy at all.
That's why they're trying to, like I said, another part of this is trying to get people to wake up to this stuff in their own time and without having it all dumped on them at once, because the more people that can do that, the more the better,
the steadier it'll it'll be less abrupt.
And then Trump is trying to I'm just saying, like, Trump is, you look at everything he does and he's constantly he's setting traps for the deep state, and he knows they're going to do this and fall right into it, right? So he goes in
and then just calls like a tactical nuke on his own position. And then
he's constantly doing that. And a byproduct of that is it's also exposing the deep state to everyone else. If you are at that level to where you're not so mind controlled that you're still resistant to it, like you see, like, oh shit, this is what they're actually doing. This is what's actually going on. And you see, I mean, look at how many people are waking up every day,
It's amazing. I think you guys have your style of delivery. You have your platform, and, you have your very own brand, through which you reach people. And there's a certain, you're very palatable. People like you guys. I'm different.
Nobody likes you.
No, I mean, I don't do this for people to like me, because most people don't. It's like, I mean, whatever. I don't. I'm trying to highlight the contrast. When Q says we are the news, you are the news now, there are going to be different types of delivery. So you guys, you do so in your way, you open up conversation. I'm done holding hands. So people that come to me, they're looking to get smacked in the face. They're looking to get, and with love, like all of my aggression and all of this shit that you guys see me, all that stuff. First of all, I'm an Aries rising, so that's that. I'm a Gemini, that's that. But it comes from a place of love. And I just want to be clear, because I know I come off like super bitch and super aggressive, this and that. It's not. That's my style of delivery, because some people respond to that. And, so they're like, okay, we're gonna, go to Jenny's page, and she's gonna,
no bullshit.
Right. No bullshit.
Straight to the point. Yeah.
Because we're out of time, you guys.
Yeah. Well, no, that's beautiful. Well, keep it up. That's you have that warrior spirit to you, and I love that. That's inspiring. It's amazing.
And whether you like it or not, tough love is effective.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. And there's a time and a place for both, I would say.
And
but if you're trying to just get up there and tell the truth, you can't beat around the bush. And you can't just sugarcoat things. You got to tell the truth. you got to tell it. Yes,
rip the Band-Aid. What does Alex Jones do? He's like, I don't know how to say this.
Perfect Alex Jones.
Interplanetary child molesting aliens run the planet.
I don't think any of us do this to be liked, because this is the wrong path.
No, you're doing the wrong thing.
Because you do draw people in who like to follow and listen, and they do like you, whatever. But at the same time, like, there's so many other people in my life who just think, they think the complete opposite at this point. But I don't care, because I'm not doing this for the likes.
I lost a bunch of friends by talking about this stuff already. Tons.
Yeah, but it's not about that for us either. We just don't have that tough love appeal like you do.
Well, we do separate from the show a lot. We just, on the show, we try to.
Yeah.
Man, like, you guys have come so, like, I mean, was I honestly, like, I feel like I was maybe one of your first guests.
It was early, yeah.
It was early on.
It was pretty early.
It was, I don't know, whatever. Maybe I just imagined that. But I remember I was
20-something, I think.
I was in talks with a recruiter from the Coast Guard, and that was before a whole bunch of things kind of fell apart. Or I should say things fell into place. Rather, at the time, it felt very catastrophic and it was the end of the world. But everything works out. But I remember I asked you to take the video down. I don't know if I followed through or whatever, but I was like, you guys, I'm thinking of joining the Coast Guard, so like I can't have any.
They can't see this
stuff out there in case they like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like that one meme where you're in the job interview and they pull up your Facebook and it says like "fuck the system."
Yeah, exactly.
So you were
it's like
you were episode 24. So this is episode 74.
Oh wow!
No, so I wasn't early at all. Look at me.
It was early-ish.
Well, that's pretty early. We were still had no clue what we were doing. We still don't.
Early.
We still don't.
Yeah, we still know what are we doing?
Yeah.
No.
No, you guys are awesome. I love you guys. Thanks for having me back, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. You're awesome.
What are your thoughts on this whole financial reset, Nasara, Jasara? Do you have any thoughts on that? Or and not Nasara like the fantastical way, but some things are changing as far as like debt forgiveness. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, what I have, so that's not my area of expertise. Like, the gods didn't bless me with all the gifts. Okay. So when it comes to anything like the financial world, like cryptocurrency, I give all of that to the brains, the think tanks in this community. And I'm like, you guys package that up nicely. You guys, that's for you guys. But one thing I would like to comment on that I noticed is I see Trump as being just such a mastermind. Like his attitude, his approach towards money is actually incredibly common sense, and it makes it's perfect. Because I don't know if you guys watched him, but I watched him for years before he was president. I've always liked Donald Trump. I have always thought he was just a magnetic type of person. He believes in a merit-based financial society. This is why capitalism, I prefer anarcho-capitalism. I think it is perfectly acceptable for anybody to, if they want to get rich, get rich. Get as rich as you can. Why not? If you're willing, it's a merit-based, like what you put out, you'll get back. And so I see him, I've always seen him as have that, work for yourself, speak on your own behalf, like whatever you the people can create, then create it. I see him pushing back the tax deadlines. I see him talking about ending, traditional 4-year college degree programs in exchange for, trade schools and skills, and really overhauling, academia in general, and putting all of this emphasis on building and trades and crafts rather. And I love that, because if that's his idea about currency and community and society and the workforce, I believe that he is going to act in the best interest of the people in terms of finances. Like, I just do. You know what I mean? Like, he believes if you want to get rich, get rich. Like, why not? There's nothing wrong with being rich.
No.
I want to be rich.
Money is just a tool. It's what you use it for.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, though, if we do get the reset, we're going to have a gold back dollar, and just that alone, it just takes that fiat, that print money out of thin air, because $1 and $100 is worth the same thing. It's just we're told it's not. So it's that's what it is. It's just a program. We're told to believe it, so we believe it.
There's nothing backing it.
We believe masks work, so we believe it. Whatever. But I think the whole point of what he's doing is to make things more fair. So you don't have to be rich.
To not live like a slave where you're stuck working a job that you hate.
Yeah. And
just to live and support your family.
People aren't going to be like striving to be rich, or, God, I wish I could win the lottery so I just could relax.
Yeah.
Hopefully this new system
I can't retire until I'm 70 because I can't afford to.
Hopefully the new system is relaxed. And if you do want to work harder and make that extra money, that's great, but you won't have to.
Right. You won't have to. You can,
Yeah.
right. And I get that.
Yeah.
Like, and I really think that we're looking at a world where in Trump's America, you get to choose. Okay. In Biden's America, you don't get to choose.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, you can get your, $2,000 a month or whatever from the government forever. Don't strive for any more. Don't foster the natural innate spirit of enterprise and expansion and the pursuit of happiness and reaching people and building and growing. These are natural instincts that people have, and that sort of naturally translates itself into work, which manifests itself into money and abundance and blessing. So it's more of a spirit of put out and get back and work and reward. And I see Trump as having a very deep understanding of that concept. And I think he wants that for this country. The thing about Trump, and we can kind of wrap it up if that's what you guys want to do, but
Sure.
I, in my bones, believe that President Donald Trump, loves this country. I believe that. I think he loves this country. I think he cares about the future, which means children. And to me, that might be a low standard for people. But at this stage, you only have to be 51% good. You don't have to be perfect, but your line has to be that you are willing to stand up against the trafficking of kids. And there are too many people right now that are not willing to do that.
If you can't do that, if you can't stand up for the children, which are the most vulnerable and precious, in our society, you can't.
What are you
have
doing?
No morals, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. and if our society, which unfortunately, with the cabal in charge, that's like the foundation of their whole system is like the child trafficking. Unfortunately,
it's all about the
which
kids.
Is sick, which is
and it's hard to
horrendous.
It's hard to look at, and people, when you see that, I was scrolling my feed today, and I seen this horrible video. I'm not even going to mention because it's terrifying, but I watched it because if you start looking away, if you keep turning your head to this stuff and ignoring it, then it's not a part of your reality. And at this point, it has to be part of your reality, so you understand the importance of what the hell is even happening right now. Mm-hmm. And like you said, so anyway, let's wrap it up on a good note. Everybody, don't forget to have fun. We are in a battle, but don't take everything so serious, because we need to create that balance in our lives. You go crazy trying to take these people down by yourself, or trying to wake.
Stay in a place of love, and don't hate. Don't get caught up in fear, the low vibrational stuff, because that's what I see. I do see a lot of people, unfortunately, getting caught up in either fear or hating other people because of what they believe.
Absolutely,
and you can't do that either.
And quit arguing with everybody about stupid
and getting distracted
shit.
by arguing about stupid shit that doesn't ultimately matter.
We're all in the middle of a war, and just cut each other some slack. Give each other a break, because we're all learning. We're all discovering new stuff every day about the world and about ourselves. And it's tough. There's a lot of emotions going on, and people don't always know how to control that because we were never taught how to. So just give everybody a chance before you just start, getting in these arguments for no reason. Thanks for listening, everybody. Oh, and Camp Disclosure, and August 27th through the 31st, Flat Rock, North Carolina. Aaron and I will be there. The Journey to Truth Experiencers Lounge. It's going to be awesome. It's great. It's just going to be so cool to get out into nature and go on some hikes and just hang out with all of our soul family. So if you're interested, there's some I don't know, there's going to be a live stream, but tickets are still available, and you can get them in the link in the description below. So if you feel drawn, please grab yourself a ticket, anybody listening, and we will be at ECETI in like 1 week.
Literally
we'll be there,
a week. Yeah.
So this actually might be our last podcast for a week or two, depending on how things go, because, we need a break too. It's a lot doing this every week, and there's a lot more that goes into it than what you see on camera. So it'd be nice to just take a break from that ourselves. But we'll be back, and better than ever. So thanks for coming on, Jenny. Any last words?
Yes, thank you.
I think what I want to say for folks listening, it's okay to allow the weight of the Great Awakening. Like, it's okay to let it get you, like, to feel it, because it's hard. We have days and we're like, fuck, like, I don't think we can wait anymore. You know, people grow so impatient and they're like, I feel depleted of energy and maybe nothing's really happening. But I just want to let people know it's okay to shift. So, you know, put out the information, do your part, and then take a break. That's absolutely, not only is it okay, it's necessary. Any well-formed, well-oiled machine needs, you know, the pieces, the parts need maintenance. And we're all working together as one well-oiled machine. So we have to communicate with each other. We need to lean on one another. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay that you're not perfect. It's okay that you have days where you're like, I can't pull it together. You know, this is tough, but we are going to get through this. I promise we're going to get through this. And I'm really grateful to you guys for, you know, having your platform and inviting me back on. And I hope everybody has a nice, safe, smooth rest of their, what are we in, July? Jeez.
Yeah.
July.
Yep. Well, maybe we'll have you back on, and this time you can have your Jello shot and your glass of wine belly or whatever you said.
There's a cocktail and a Jello shot.
Yeah, we'll be celebrating this next time. Yeah.
I want to try to come out to Camp D next month. I'm going to try to make it happen. I want to go on some hikes. Yeah.
We're leading on Sunday. I'm leading a hike somewhere. I haven't been to the area, but I'm going to explore when we get there early. But
it's leading a hike in an area he's never been to.
Yeah. I don't care.
Why not?
Well, that's what Jordan did at Dimensions.
That's what Jordan did
at Disclosure, and I thought that was a cool idea, so I decided it'd be cool. And we had awesome conversations while we were doing it, and just it's going to be fun. So
that's awesome. Very exciting. Well, thank you guys.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you everybody for listening. Aaron and I did not wear these same shirts on purpose.
We didn't coordinate this.
But these are our shirts. If you want some, grab them.
We're in the same shirt.
From our website. Yeah.
Awesome.
I like it.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks for listening, and we will see you when we get back from East City. Have a great night. Good night, everyone.
Is it over? Not to the fish chums. It's over.